G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's episode, and with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, let's get right into it. Cheers. Posted by user CatOwn, titled, Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my friend's wedding because she uninvited me? Okay, so here's the deal. My friend, let's call her Sarah, and I have been tight-knit since high school. We've been through everything together. Breakups, makeups, you name it. So when she got engaged, I was over the moon for her. Fast forward to a few months before the wedding, Sarah sends out the invitations, and I'm psyched to RSVP. But then, out of nowhere, she texts me saying that she's had to cut down the guest list due to budget constraints, and unfortunately, I didn't make the cut. I was devastated. I get that weddings are expensive and all, but to uninvite me after we've been friends for so long? Ouch. Fast forward again to the wedding day. I see all these photos on social media, and it looks like a fairy tale. But here's the kicker. Sarah texts me later that week asking for money to help cover the costs of the wedding. Apparently, they went over budget, and she's asking all the guests who didn't attend to chip in. I was floored. Not only did she uninvite me, but now she expects me to foot the bill for a wedding that I didn't even go to? I told her no way. I refused to pay a single dime. But now she's saying that I'm being selfish and unsupportive. Am I the asshole here, Reddit? Or is Sarah out of line for expecting me to pay for her mistake? For some more context, this happened about a week ago, and I tried talking to her about it again. She relented that the two have been having financial struggles, and this time she respected me not wanting to pay for her wedding. However, she still wants me to consider helping out in other ways, like pitching in for the honeymoon or contributing to future expenses. I appreciate that she's acknowledging her financial difficulties, but it still feels like she's trying to guilt-trip me into footing the bill for her wedding in some form or another. I'm torn because, on one hand, I want to be supportive and help her out during a tough time, but on the other hand, I can't shake off the feeling that I'm getting taken advantage of. I'm not sure how to proceed from here. Should I continue to stand my ground and refuse any further financial involvement, or should I try to find a compromise that works for the both of us? Any advice would be greatly appreciated. In the comments, Speedy89T says, No, you're not. Asking for money, especially from people who didn't get invited, is one of the most absurd things that I've ever heard of in my entire life. It's even worse. OP was invited, and then got cut, and then goggled at the wedding photos from social media, and then got hit up for money. Uninvited for budget constraints, but still went over budget, and now asking an uninvited guest to pay to cover the budget that she was uninvited for because of the budget. My head is spinning. Asking the guests who didn't attend for money. They aren't guests if they didn't attend, lol. She's just begging regular people for money. It takes a very entitled and selfish type of person to even want an extravagant wedding anyways. So it's no surprise that she is entitled and selfish. That's shit for rich people. If you have to budget for it all, then you can't afford it, period. Not the asshole. And I hope you know you are. I would stop this friendship entirely, send her a few laughing emojis or gifs, and then block her. This is one of the tackiest things that I have ever heard. OP says, Thank you for your support and understanding. It has been a roller coaster of emotions dealing with this situation. To add a bit more context, Sarah and I have been there for each other, so her decision to uninvite me really caught me off guard. I tried to rationalize it, thinking maybe she was under a lot of stress or pressure to cut costs, but it still hurt nonetheless. I don't want to cut her off, as she helped me through some tough times. Is there anything else that I can do in this situation? No problem. I normally don't advise people to troll people, but in this case, I would personally troll her in the most childish of ways with laughing emojis and memes. Not saying you should though. Wild guess, but you must have also helped her through some tough times, so I'd say you're probably even, or more than even. This friendship will never be the same. You will resent her for uninviting you. She will resent you for not paying. I would focus on making new friends or spending more time with other people. Stop clinging to this fake friendship. I wonder how the other uninvited guests feel about being asked for money. Maybe it's a tradition somewhere, but I think it's tacky AF. Okay, a reality check please. Who, being an adult and in their right mind, expects others to pay for their luxuries? Mind you, a wedding, guests, honeymoon, whatever, it is not a necessity, it is a luxury. You have to budget, and if you can't budget, why the hell should other people pay for that? Would she pay for your vacation so you can have some fun because you're tired from work? No? Then what's the difference? That's just crazy. She shows you zero respect and zero care for your feelings and just trying to use and guilt trip you. And she literally threw you out of her wedding and still feels as though it's okay to ask you for money like you're a doormat. That's just asshole behavior. It's very selfish to care about your well-being instead of caring to other people's expensive wants. Yes, you may tell her that you are very selfish and that you shouldn't be friends. OP replies, "Thank you for your reality check. You're absolutely right. Expecting others to pay for luxuries like weddings and honeymoons is unreasonable, especially when it comes at the expense of someone's feelings and boundaries. It's been a tough pill to swallow, realizing that Sarah may not value our friendship as much as I thought she did. The fact that she uninvited me from her wedding and then tried to guilt trip me into covering expenses feels like a betrayal of trust. I've come to realize that I need to prioritize my own well-being and not allow myself to be taken advantage of. It's clear that Sarah's behavior is selfish and disrespectful. I shouldn't feel obligated to cater to her expensive wants at my own expense. It's going to be hard, but I think it's time to reevaluate this friendship and set some boundaries moving forward. Your words have given me the clarity and confidence to stand my ground. Thank you for your support." Yeah, absolutely. It's great that OP is realizing that they need to grow a spine in this situation, because I can definitely see where they're coming from. Like, you don't particularly want to lose a friendship over this because, you made the concession of not going to their wedding and you still want to be friends with them, but how much shit can they pile on top of you before you realize, you are being disrespected? You should stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. They're just using your trust in them against you. Can't imagine how you're feeling right now, OP, but from me, I don't think you're the asshole for refusing to pay for your friend's wedding, because, on top of that, she uninvited you. It's pathetic. And now, onto the updates. Hey everyone, OP here with an update about refusing to pay for my friend's wedding because she uninvited me. Firstly, I want to express my gratitude to all 700 plus of you who took the time to read my story and offer your thoughts. Your support and perspectives have been invaluable during this challenging time. Since my last update, there have been some significant developments. Sarah saw the post and confronted me. Things got heated. There was yelling, emotions ran high, and in the end, I made the difficult decision to go no contact with Sarah. While it was a tough choice to make, I realized that the toxicity in our relationship had reached a point where it was no longer healthy for either of us. Despite my initial hopes for reconciliation, it became clear that certain underlying issues in our friendship needed to be addressed and resolved before any meaningful progress could be made. Going no contact was not a decision that I made lightly, but rather one born out of necessity for my own well-being and mental health. It's never easy to distance yourself from someone that you care about, but sometimes it's necessary for personal growth and healing. I want to thank everyone once again for their support and encouragement through this journey. Your words have been a source of strength and comfort during a challenging time in my life. Moving forward, I'm focused on prioritizing self-care and surrounding myself with positive influences. While it's sad to say goodbye to a friendship that once meant so much to me, I'm hopeful that this decision will ultimately lead to greater happiness and fulfillment in the long run. Thank you all for being a part of my story and for your unwavering support. In the comments, Uncle Ned is Dead says, "Sarah saw the post and confronted me. Things got heated. If she was anything but embarrassed about her choosing beggar ways and apologetic for how she treated you, then she is no friend." It's so ridiculous when people get angry about being exposed because no real names are used, 99% of the time, and no way for the guilty to be rounded up and derided. Narcissists can't stand the idea that anyone would think of them badly, even if it's online and relatively anonymous. Someone might recognize it and know her actions don't reflect kindly on herself. OP says, "Some of you also DM'd asking for her contact info, but I don't think that that's the mature thing to do. I just want to move past this." Yeah, if you handed that out, you'd be a massive asshole. Sorry about having to go no contact, but it seems like it was the only way forward to keep yourself sane. Best of luck. OP says, it hurts because she helped me when I was battling depression and low on money. But thank you on your understanding and support. It wasn't an easy decision to go no contact, but sometimes it's necessary for self-preservation. Your words mean a lot to me, and I appreciate your well wishes. Here is to prioritizing our mental health and moving forward towards a brighter future. Take care. Look, I know you hate giving up on a friendship, but she really isn't much of a friend to you. It's not as much of a loss as you might think. I had to let go of many friendships that were very one-sided because I thought that's what a friend would do. I was very surprised to learn, when I let go, the other person didn't seem to care at all, while I was devastated over the loss. Ironically enough, I was at my dad's funeral, sad at all the friends that didn't show up, and I saw a woman that I never would have expected to see in a million years. We never were friends. We never got along, but she came. I asked her why privately, and she said, "We may not ever have agreed about anything, but this was your dad. I lost mine a few years ago, and I remembered how it hurts, and I wanted to tell you that I'm sorry. Truly sorry. If you need anything, please call." That was when it hit me. My frenemy was a better friend than my friends. It's been 12 years. She stopped by and checked up on my mum several times before she passed away. She came to her funeral too. She helped my siblings, who lived nearer to my parents' home than I, find a realtor to sell the house, get help cleaning it out, etc. This is what a friend should be. I never asked her to do those things. She just did them. Not because she liked me as a person, but because she was a caring human being that saw a need and stepped in to fill it. If a friend can't do that as a minimum, then they are not a true friend. Ask yourself honestly, does Sarah pass the minimum threshold test? If not, let her go. Don't mourn, move on, and find better friends. Knitted Jedi says, quote, apparently they went over budget, and she's asking all the guests who didn't attend to chip in. I cannot think of a single person I know that would be this classless. Not saying that they don't exist, I'm just grateful that none of them exist in my vicinity. I also cannot imagine someone doing this, but I guess they exist, and I'm just lucky that I haven't met one. Seriously, she asked everyone who did not attend to chip in? I can't wrap my head around it. If she asked from the guests who were there, sure, a little tacky, but I can see the logic. But those who were non-guests? Why? I bet she already asked the people who went and didn't get enough takers. In the most cynical take that you can have on wedding receptions, the bride and groom are exchanging money for the food and drink at the reception, for large gifts. My wife's aunt and uncle got us a very expensive set of flatware that I still use very cautiously because it's that expensive, and we never would have bought on our own. Plus, people are spending money to come into town as well. They spent money on Sarah, but it's in the form of gifts to start the marriage out. Asking for cash on top of that is just so crass. Absolutely. Yet another person that we can throw in the basket of assholes. I think it's fair enough that OP is now calling it quits with that friendship and going no contact. Probably for the best that Sarah found the post and knows that her actions were wrong and knows how OP feels about it and probably how a lot of other people at the wedding feel about it. Although I do want to get inside her head and know what the hell is going on in there as to why she felt like she could ask that question of people that didn't come to the wedding. You insane beast of a woman, you. How dare thee, I will strike you down for trying to pull that shit. That was a joke, by the way. That was a silly little joke. Our next post is by a throwaway account titled, Am I the asshole here for telling my brother that he is an idiot for wanting a paternity test? I, 20 male, have a brother called Jack, 29 male, who was married to his wife Amy, 26 female. About 2 years ago, they had their first child, Lisa. On our side of the family, we all look extremely alike. Both of our parents have brown hair and brown eyes, and so do me and Jack. Amy, on the other side, is from Norway and looks very different. She has blonde hair and blue eyes, and generally has a very Scandinavian look to her, opposed to our very American look. So to what I thought was no one's surprise, of course Lisa got features from her mom. They look pretty much identical, and it seems like they look more alike as time passes on. This was all fine from my understanding. I don't even know why it would be a problem. But about 1 year ago, my brother started telling me about how his co-worker has a daughter that looks like the female version of him. He said that everyone said that the firstborn, especially if it's a daughter, is the spitting image of their father. I didn't find it that weird, as I'd heard that before, but I think it's kind of obvious that genetics work in weird and different ways, and what is common is not always what happens to everyone. I told him just that genetics work in surprising ways sometimes. However, as time went on, he started saying more stuff like this, like asking me where I thought Lisa got her blonde hair from, which obviously was from Amy. He did this with other stuff, like the nose, the eyes, the little mannerisms that Lisa has. It was extremely obvious that it was from Amy, which I always told him. Now I found out that he is demanding that they take a paternity test, as he's extremely sure that Lisa is not his. Amy is extremely distraught by this and has tried to explain to him that Lisa is his, that she just got stuff from Amy and that happens. He's threatening her with divorce if she doesn't agree to do a paternity test, as that would be his confirmation on that she cheated. She got to our parents' house and broke down, telling us all of this. My parents have texted him and called him. I have too, but he is now angry with us too because we're taking a cheater's side. His words. She and Lisa are staying with us, and she is extremely confused on where this is all coming from. I called my brother yesterday, and this time he picked up the phone. I managed to have a conversation with him, and I asked him why, if he had any evidence that Amy did ever cheat, or why he thought so. He basically told me that he didn't have any evidence, but he knew, and was 100% sure on that. I asked him why and how. He told me that firstborn daughters behave, look, and are a carbon copy of their father, but Lisa is not even remotely like that. He said that if it isn't like that, then Lisa would at least have some features from him, which she doesn't. I was getting angry at him because it just seems so weird to even come to that conclusion. I told him that he was an idiot for all of this, and that he will regret all of this later on. He hung up and is even madder at all of us, saying that Amy has manipulated us all and that we can't crawl back to him when the truth is out. I have not told Amy that this is the reason or that I have talked to him because I don't think that she'll react well to hearing this. However, my parents are saying that it was extremely unnecessary of me to behave like that when I got talking to him, as this may have been our chance to have a mature and serious conversation with him. So am I the asshole here for how I reacted? In the comments, She Who Knits says, quote, he told me that firstborn daughters always behave, look, and are a carbon copy of their father. This is evidence of a delusional belief system that has been reinforced by pseudoscientific clickbait websites. Rather than fight with him over his delusion, it would be better for Amy to burst his bubble with real science. He actually doesn't need permission to do a test, so make him do it all himself. Do the swabs, and mail them off so he can't create a new delusion that the test was wrong or fake. Your brother might actually be mentally ill, or just dumb and naive enough to believe the internet. This is what makes me think that it's delusion. If I thought that there was a chance that a kid wasn't mine, I'd just do a DNA test in secret. You're going to blow up your marriage without being sure? If he's dumb enough to not understand very simple genetics, he is too dumb to figure out how to get a paternity test done. I can almost guarantee that this is projected guilt and that he cheated on her at some point. Now he's reaching so hard, he's going to dislocate a shoulder. Someone should imply that if the first child is supposed to look like the father, does that mean that Lisa isn't his first child? And then watch the mental gymnastics. Not the asshole. Your brother is dumber than a box of rocks. Or this could be a mental crisis brought on by some unacknowledged insecurities that he has. Either way, I don't think that there is anything wrong with how you reacted. Totally agree. Your brother is an idiot spouting misinformation and spiraling badly. My niece is an exact copy of my sister, whereas I looked nothing like my mom until I was 20. Everyone is different, and if your brother wants to blow up his marriage by making false generalizations, then I don't know what else to call him but an idiot. Clearly, he's got some bad friends or is projecting from his own infidelity. Not the asshole. Yup, My daughter is my little mini-me. She doesn't have even a hint of my husband in her. My coloring, features, build, temperament, the lot. My son is a perfect blend of the both of us. Genetics are just like that sometimes. It's not like OP's niece came out looking like the milkman or the guy next door. She just looks like her mum. OP's brother needs to sort his shit out. My brother's eldest is the spitting image of me, her auntie. His youngest is very like my maternal family. The middle daughter is a complete blend of the two. Skinny shrimp like her dad, his mannerisms, but has the hair color, eye color, and facial features of her mum. You can see the similarities between the eldest and the youngest, but the middle looks completely different from her sister, while at the same time, the most like her parents. Genes are weird. Back up to the post, edit. I have seen a few comments about this and thought that I would try my best to answer, but since I'm just hearing about this from Amy, and I was not there during the whole ordeal, I don't have 100% of the answers, and they are basically just what she has told me. He basically sat her down, told her that he was going to be honest with her, and then he said that he didn't think that Lisa was his, that he basically knew that she cheated on him, and that he would do a paternity test. He did not go behind her back and do it. Why? I can't answer. They then had a fight, and I don't know who left first. I don't know exactly what was said. All I know is that my brother is at a friend of his, and Amy came here. Amy is not outright refusing the test either, but when he brought it up, she was extremely hurt by him insinuating that she would cheat on him. She has been with my brother for 7 years. They had a seemingly great relationship up until this. She is mostly hurt by the accusations, and that her relationship is most likely never going to be the same. She told me that the last couple years now just feels like a lie, that he, for the most part, thought she was cheating. Edit 2, thanks again. I've tried reading everything both in the comments and messages. The test will happen. I'll update in the meantime if anything happens that is worth updating for, and if not, I'll try my best to just update with the results when they are done. Thanks again for everything. So, does your brother have any mental illness? Because that seems like such a huge mental leap, and his reaction seems very out of touch with reality. When the test is done and it shows that she is his daughter, you better believe his wife will file for divorce. And OP says, I know that he was diagnosed with anxiety disorder in his early teens, but he apparently got better when he was about 20. I did not know about it or really have any recollection of it since I was very young during this time and they kept it away from me. But apparently it was really bad anxiety. It doesn't seem too far off to assume that it could relate to what is happening now. Why didn't he just do the test himself? Why does his wife have to be the one to test their kid? He'd need to submit his DNA anyway. And OP says, he told Amy he would do a paternity test as he believed that she cheated and that Lisa was not his. He said that he would do it, but he wanted to be truthful to her. I don't really know how everything went, but they've not seen each other since the fight. Yup, OP, I don't think you're an asshole here for telling your brother that he's an idiot for wanting a paternity test. I think, much like other people in this story have said, that he should have just done it behind their back and got those answers if he wanted to. I know that's not like a perfect way to go about it, but it's either, it comes out that you did the paternity test and it's like, what was the reason for that? That's a bit odd. Or straight up, like he's doing here, accusing her of cheating to her face and then doing the paternity test on top of that. Obviously, there are many other avenues that you could go for in situations like this, but man, I think he is an idiot. I think it's warranted that you say that to him. Being Delulu is not the Salulu, okay? And now, onto the updates. Hi everybody who will read this update. I'm sorry for the wait, but I hope that I can answer it all. First things first, the paternity test was done and the results got back. Lisa is my brother's, no doubt there. So some of you thought that my brother was cheating on Amy, and from what we've all gathered, he is not cheating on her. Now to what drove him to this point. We think we know. I mentioned in a comment that my brother had anxiety when he was younger. Now I know that anxiety was more severe than I ever thought. It is most likely what happened again. His anxiety has mainly been pointed towards other people. He doesn't trust that they want what is best for him. One example was that he apparently refused to sit beside someone in classrooms because he thought that they would take their pens and stab him. This is just one example. He also believed that people were conspiring against him, especially close friends. So what happened was that one of his co-workers had brought their daughter to the office one day, and everyone talked about how his daughter looked like him if he was a girl and 30 years younger. After this, they apparently started talking about genetics in the lunchroom for some time. Like, almost every dad showed pictures of their daughters who looked just like them. All mums showed pictures of their sons who looked just like them. Of course, this was not the case for everyone, but for many. This apparently sparked something in my brother. He started obsessing over genetics, and what confirmed his thoughts was that brown eyes and hair should outweigh blue eyes and blonde hair. He fed into these thoughts and obsessed over them for almost a year. Also, for why he didn't just do the paternity test, he wanted to show Amy how easy it was to not keep secrets. He thought that if he was honest about knowing about her being unfaithful and being honest about wanting a paternity test, it would be easier for her to come clean. It was also so that he could walk out knowing that he did everything 100% right while she did not. Amy does not want a divorce right now, at least, and my brother should be extremely thankful for that. They are both going to couples therapy and individual therapy. Amy for things unrelated, and Jack for, well, all of this and his issues with anxiety. They are going to live separate for a while, but they are very insistent on making this work. Jack is not completely fine, and while we do want to trust him, we think that the answers from the paternity test is just breaking things down for him. We've tried to get him into therapy as quickly as possible, but we couldn't find any available appointments until next week, which is still quicker than expected. But he is still very sorry for all of this. He had a very emotional reaction to seeing the test, and he kept telling Lisa that, Daddy loves his little girl, when he was here. If there are still questions that you want answers to, I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Edits. I talked with my parents about it this week because, to me, it sounded like something more severe and worse than just anxiety from what I've read, but they told me that it was just anxiety, that it presents different in different people, and that he just happens to be one of those affected by it more. I have never suffered from anxiety, so I kind of just took their word for it. If it is something more severe, I want him to get the help that he deserves. I'll talk to Amy about this because she has also questioned if it is just anxiety. In the comments, Permanent UN sends, I really hope that you can get your brother into neuropsychological testing for a confirmed diagnosis. That doesn't sound like anxiety. It sounds like it's a different diagnosis with anxiety as a symptom. That can be dangerous to others, and possibly more so to your brother, depending on his guilt and depression levels. Please get him help. OP replies, I thought about that. I asked my parents if it was possible it could be something worse than anxiety, but they've been very insistent on that it was just a severe case of anxiety. I have never experienced that myself, but from what I've read, what he experiences sounds a lot more complex than anxiety. I'm sorry to hear this. Quote, he apparently refused to sit beside someone in classrooms because he thought that they would take their pens and stab him, goes way beyond the bounds of general anxiety. Bro literally blew up his entire marriage due to his paranoid delusions. Your brother needs serious help. That's exactly what I thought. Like, that's not just anxiety. That's straight up paranoia, and he really needs to address it. I just hope he does. My thoughts as well. These are outright paranoid delusions. Best guess is that the parents were in denial, so it went untreated until it escalated to this. Yeah, that doesn't sound like anxiety at all. My brother is schizophrenic, and before his first psychotic break, he was acting very similarly to OP's brother. Watching someone's mind degrade is heartbreaking. My brother has terrifying visual and auditory episodes. He thinks that he sees a black shadow in the corner of his apartment that follows him around and screams at him when he tries to sleep. Even when he's taking his medication and his mind is calmer, he still thinks it's there. It is so effing hard to see him suffer. I'm a little worried about the parents. I hope that they take this seriously because the brother needs help desperately. Sometimes it's difficult to accept a diagnosis in a loved one, especially when it concerns mental health. I find it difficult to believe that the parents are taking this seriously. If OP has all the factual information, it sounds to me like he's never gotten the help he needs. I've been around a few different blocks, and it sounds like the family is hiding shit or just obstinately anti-psych. There is no mention of medical intervention, which I would be pushing for with his paranoia and apparently at times delusional behavior. I've been effed over by improper diagnoses. I get it. For the parents though, for my own dog, I will literally push until I get an acceptable resolution. They are either lying or they never pushed. A lot of parents don't take mental health of their sons seriously at all. It's a compounding problem. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!